Welcome to the Sales Hunter podcast. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. What are we talking about today? Talking about, do you have a sales pipeline or is it rather a sewer line? We're going to answer 4 questions right after this.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
Welcome to the Sales Hunter podcast. And hey, we have been named as the top ranked new sales podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcast. Thank you so much. And hey, have I spoken to your sales team yet? If I haven't, you got to reach out to me, because again, one of the things I do most is talk to sales teams to help them see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. Today, we're talking about, do you have a sales pipeline or is it a sewer line? I'm going to answer 4 questions. And here are the 4 questions you want to ask yourself to determine if your pipeline is more like a sewer line than a water line. What's the percent? First question, what's the percent of leads that become customers? 2, how long does it take for a lead to become a customer? 3, what stage of your sales process do you have the highest fallout? 4, how many touches does it take to turn a qualified prospect into a customer? I want you to stop and think about those 4 questions right there, because you answer those 4 questions and it's amazing at what you're going to find out. So here's the whole thing. Let's really get to the answer to these things. I'm going to do that by sharing with you 3 things that are going to help drive this the most. First is the lack of qualifying the prospect. You have to validate if there is something you can help them with. If there's not something you can help them with, why are you wasting time with them? You see, just because they're responding to you, just because they're downloading an ebook or something like that, doesn't make them a prospect for you. You have to make sure that there's some reason, some way you can help them. You see, your pipeline is going to become a sewer line if you allow suspects to hang around too long. Just because they respond to things doesn't mean it. You've got to validate them. If you can't validate them, get them out of there. Hey, real quick side note, leave me a review on your favorite podcast app, would you? Because again, this is how we really get the word out about how good the show is, by you talking to other people. Okay, second, failing to focus on your ICP. You got to remember, you have a sales pipeline. You don't have an ocean. You don't have the ability to put everything in your pipeline. Don't. You have to focus in on just who is your best customer, your ICP, ideal customer profile. Anybody that doesn't fit that, get rid of them. You see, there's like a little common trend here that I'm talking about. I'm talking about you skinning down the stuff that's in there. Because again, you can't have people that don't fit your perfect audience. 3, know the outcomes you create for your customers and the questions you need to ask to get them to engage. Think about this for a moment. You've got questions that you want to ask. They're relevant if they fit their ICP. And unless you know your ICP, what's your ICP? Look at your current customers. Who are your current customers? Your current customers is what's going to drive you to your next customer. But stay focused on that. Now, number 3 here on this whole thing is, again, we're talking about this whole customers and questions and so forth. But you got to remember, it's the questions. It's not story time. I find so many salespeople, what they do is they get a customer and they go into story time. The customer doesn't care about story time. What they want to have is they want to have a conversation. I want to have a conversation. The earlier I have a conversation with a lead, the sooner I can qualify them. You see, here's the whole thing. Don't hesitate to throw things out of your pipeline. Don't hesitate. Now, let me phrase that. You actually keep them in your pipeline, but you're not working them. Okay, so you're keeping their contact information, you're turning them over to marketing, et cetera, but you're not working it. Because here's the whole thing. Keeping it stuffed, keeping your pipeline stuffed is a lousy way to impress your boss. And that's what a lot of salespeople do. They keep things in it because they want their boss to feel that they're busy. But a stuffed pipeline doesn't do anybody any good. That's a sewer line. And you've got to pull yourself out of that as fast as possible. You see, here's the whole thing. My goal is to qualify fast. When I qualify fast, I'm going to be spending more time with fewer prospects. See, because my objective is to take my sales pipeline and turn it into a water tap. When I turn it into a water tap, it's amazing what happens. Now, back to the 4 questions I asked over the top. What's the percent of leads that become customers? The answer to this is a tight ICP, a tight ideal customer profile. The better your leads will be is going to help you really not have as many leads in your pipeline to begin with. So guess what? You're going to be able to close a higher percentage. Second, how long does it take for a lead to become a customer? This is a measurement of the quality of the questions you ask and how well you engage. You see, the better you know your ICP, the more qualified you're going to be in being able to understand what to ask them, what to look for, and how to keep them engaged. Here's a situation, that drives people crazy. When I ask, what stage of your sales process do you have the highest fallout? It should not be negotiating. It should not be the close. That should not be the highest. The highest percentage should be in the qualifying stage early on. If the highest percentage of where customers, leads, prospects fall out is in the negotiation phase, you have way too many people in your pipeline. This is a game changer for the majority of people. I want you to eliminate more. So again, go back to that question. The question being is, are you spending more time with fewer prospects? And the last piece is, how many touches does it take to turn a qualified prospect into a customer? Okay, the number should be on a slow downward trend. The more of an expert you become in your ICP, the more this will happen. Now, there's always going to be deviations because of economic factors, because of different things, but on a slow downward trend. So what I've done here is I've just walked you through very quickly ways to help you determine as to whether or not you have a water tap pipeline or a sewer tap, or a sewer tap, a sewer line. Yes. Now, question, just payment, priority or option. So key, Dave Sanderson. Thank you for chiming in on this. Is it a priority and option? And this is a question because, again, when I'm focused on my ICP, I'm focused on priorities. Otherwise, I'm focused on options. Hey, with that, we want to say thank you for listening. I do trust you value the content shared, and you'll take a moment to subscribe to the podcast. And hey, leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Each week, you get 2 shows. One, a short one just like this, and second show is a longer one where I really feature and dive into and talk to a leading sales expert. Hey, I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. The Sales Hunter podcast, it's your place to go for cutting edge insights that you can use right now. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Great selling.